An important partnership for your business are external partners. They come in a large number of different varieties. Some of them you deliberately want to have, some of them you stumble upon. It just depends. Really, when we ever talk about mapping them, we always want to make certain that partnerships, we sit down, we track them as we go through. Sometimes the aspect of having a partner doesn't occur to us because we're just paying them as a contractor or whatever it may be, but they may end up having long-term benefits to us or sometimes negative consequences in the process as well. Combinations can create synergy. In other words, the two together may create something bigger than all by itself. It's true of people, true of Legos, true of neurons by the time it's all done. The more, the better, but the more you have, the actually more power and the more results you can have as well. A lot of times you get some expected partners. If you're a retail business owner, your landlord can actually be a partner. You want to make certain that relationship is established. It depends what your business is doing. When you enter into that relationship, a lot of times you have a thing called a tenant improvement allowance. That being said, you go into lease a building and you want to put $100,000 in renovations in it. It's pretty common for the landlord to kick in anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000, sometimes even the whole $100,000 to renovate that space for your use. They expect, of course, they keep it if you ever leave. But that said, it helps you to not use your capital. You can focus in on making your business function rather than remodeling the building. It's called a tenant improvement allowance. That really is a partnership, and usually it's part of your original contract as you go through. Of course, they want you to sign a 10-year contract. Typically, a retail contract will be a 10-year contract with 2 5-year options. So technically, you can call it a 20-year contract by the time you're done. But that's generally your landlord. The general contractor you have come in that goes through and renovate your space. A lot of times they have a 1-year warranty on all their work and 3 years in parts. That's another kind of expected partnership, usually a lot of times involved in that situation. If you have a facility structure where you're renting something, that's a partner, but it's a contractual obligation as you come through. Other times, you'll have a corporation and it's almost a virtual corporation. It could be just you, and you may hire a production firm, you may hire a distribution firm, you may hire all these different aspects of it, and you have a virtual corporation where you're farming out every single component that you have. Even if you look at a giant company like Berkshire Hathaway, surprisingly, it's all run out of Omaha, Nebraska office, and they have one of the world's largest conglomerates run by a whole 25 people out of that one site location. All the rest of them are satellite organizations or satellite offices. But in this case, on a virtual corporation, you have different companies who farm them out. Instead of you having a lawyer on staff, you hire a legal firm. Instead of you having design people on staff, you hire a design firm. If you don't like the work, you get rid of them, you bring somebody else in. If you don't have any work, you just don't sit down and let them work on any projects right now. So it really is a good, highly flexible maneuver. You're paying as you go, so to speak, and that way you limit your capital outlay. Partnerships in this format can really be a powerful business model for you to save money as you go through. So on the expected, here's a really positive thing to do is that when you first start your business, you create an advisory board. And guess what? You load up the advisory board with people that you want to use for free. Don't tell them you plan on sucking their brains out for free, that you want to use them. You'd sit down and say, hey, I got this thing. Would you mind being on my board? I have an advisory board and I really need to have some expertise in this area on it. You pick and choose. If you can, you want to sit there, have a lawyer on there. If you can, you want to have somebody that's an expert in the business that you're in. You want to have somebody that really has a really good background in accounting. You load up your board and then basically you bring them in, you buy them a real fancy dinner once, maybe twice a year. You sit down there and make them happy, and then you call them up the rest of the year to get free advice. It works really good. Network with a chamber of commerce. That is what it's about. It's about networking, getting to know other people in your community. National organizations, they're created to sit down and share ideas and to make all their members better than they were before they came in. These are all expected external partners, and you should be looking for opportunities to network in your field, in your industry as you go through. And then you also have unexpected partners. I make fun all the time of the helpful Honda people. Honda sit there, they started a advertising strategy campaign. They called the Helpful Honda People. They got these blue shirts and they call people up and say, hey, we know you have a problem. The Girl Scouts want to go off to a Girl Scout camp. Honda will help you and we'll pay for registration for everybody. The whole commercial campaign, that commercial might cost them $20,000. Normally, they would pay $150,000, but they're getting by on the cheap side. Yeah, it's cheap advertising. But you know what? They've been doing it for years. And the only reason they're doing it for years is because people like it and people buy their cars. You know what? That's an unexpected partnership because we live in a world today that looks for-profit business to help out the community as a whole. It's a great approach. Model yourself after the Helpful Honda People. You want to sit down and look at some other things that come up. In this case, we have a problem with the Air Force, a vehicle stopper competition. They wanted to find a means of stopping a speeding vehicle, and they gave $25,000 prize for the winner. This is another unexpected external partner. So in 2 months, they had 1,071 entries. For $25,000, you are going to be able to sit down there and get 1,000 prototypes. It simply won't happen in the world. So that being said, they had a fabulous competition. By the time it was all done, an engineer out of Lima, Peru, probably that never heard of the United States Air Force, never thought about it, came up with a winning design, won $25,000 and probably a big contract with the Air Force, and sat down there and had a chassis that could move up to 130 miles an hour in 3 seconds, and sit there, go underneath the chase vehicle, and sit there and stop it in its tracks. Unexpected partners come in different ways. You look on different things. You can go outsourcing, you can go insourcing, you can go ahead and even do different aspects when you go out and crowdsourcing in the process. External partners, we deliberately go out and create alliances. Consider an advisor committee. And then, frankly, in my opinion, every single business model needs to include some type of community outreach because people like it. You want them to like it. You want you to become meshed into the community that your business operates in because they will respond back to you in kind. Experiment with different types of connections. Go past your comfort zone and find partners, internal partners, external partners. The more you have, the more you can sit down there and network and expand your customer base and your business as well. Take care.